Hi, I'm Jim Christian, and welcome to Behind the Barricade, a podcast dedicated to exploring with real life stories productivity in construction. Our research says productivity has been flat for a couple of decades, so we want to have real stories with real people about what makes productivity happen in a construction project. I'm super excited today to have Heath Dyer with us, who is the head of property for an exciting company that's coming to America from Australia. It's called THISBOWL, and they have great food and a great experience, actively opening projects in New York City, and we are working with them on an up-and-coming store in Miami. So look forward to sharing Heath's stories with you and what he's learned over decades of working in the construction industry. On to the podcast. Hi, I'm Jim Christian, and this is Behind the Barricade, a podcast dedicated to exploring what works in construction and what drives productivity. Real stories from real people about what really happens on sites. And I am super excited about our guest today. Heath Dyer is the director of property for a concept called THISBOWL from Australia, and they're building out now in New York and got some exciting plans. But most importantly is the wealth of knowledge that Heath brings to the table. He is flown in from Australia, and we're here live in the studio in New York City, and we're just so grateful for Heath taking the time out of his busy schedule to spend some time with us to talk about construction productivity. So welcome, Heath. Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, great to have you. And you're a client, and we've been meeting online a little bit, and This is our first time meeting in person, and it's great. Thanks for saying yes. So maybe just to give context, tell us the story about how you got in construction. You've been in it for decades, and kind of your experiences along the way and how you got to love construction so much.
So I was an early starter. I left school when I was 15.
Okay.
Dad was in construction his whole life. So started an apprenticeship with him. Then I started my apprenticeship. I was 2 years in, I think, and then I started my building degree concurrently. By the time I was 21, I was a licensed builder and I started my own company.
Wow.
So
21.
Yeah. So during that time, specialised for most part of it in the food industry, pubs, restaurants, bars, cafes, that style of thing, and developed quite a good relationship with my clients. I ended up by the latter part of my career was a handful of clients that I just kept repeating stores for, and fish bowlers were known in Australia, were one of my clients, and I met them about 12 months, maybe a little bit less, after they started in 2016.
Okay.
And started building out stores and worked closely with the guys as they built their brand, and it was exciting. Like, I was just their GC, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then in 22, I think it was, I promised my wife that by the time I turned 50, I was going to do something different.
Okay.
That different was moving to the country and building fence or painting a gate or something like. But Nathan had other ideas. Nathan's one of our founding directors.
Okay.
He told me that was ridiculous and I should come and work for him. So I started working for THISBOWL in 2023, and then shortly after he says, "Hey, guess where we're going?"
Oh wow.
New York. And I'm like, oh, I didn't have that. That wasn't in my life plan. And he said, "Well, just give me a hand on the first one."
Of course. It always starts with just the first one.
Yeah. But you know what? I love working with the guys, and I've spent a lot of time with Nathan, and he instills a lot of trust in me in the stores, as like all the founding directors do. And so I'm sort of humbled by that. And I do genuinely love the job. I probably live the job a little bit.
Too much?
Too much. Definitely wasn't as per the life plan. But anyway, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got quite a few existing stores in Australia. What's the store count like in Australia?
We're currently at 57. We've got another 4 we're working on at all different stages at the moment. So by Christmas, we'll be just over 60 stores.
Wow.
At the moment, we're rebuilding our very first store. So our first store in Bondi Beach is currently under a full renovation makeover. It'll be our new flagship. We're very excited about it. It's going to be beautiful, and that opens in the end of September. So, yeah.
So that store, how old would that store have been?
It's 10 years this year.
10 years,
So we're
okay.
literally, it's our 10th anniversary. Reopening.
Wow.
Brand new. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
And you've got some locations in New York City now?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
You've got how many?
So we've currently got 3 stores trading.
Right.
And we're about to open another one at 100 Barclay, corner of West
Wow.
Street. So we're excited for that. Within a couple of weeks,
Wow.
we'll be serving customers there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you've got a few more you're trying to open before the end of the year.
Yeah,
I think,
we've
right?
got a few locations spread across the
Nice.
city, so very excited about that.
Good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you. Maybe for those that might be listening that haven't heard of this bowl, maybe tell us a little bit about what you do there and the culture you have. I was quite excited to learn about it when we first met, but even meeting you in person, it even got more exciting for me. So tell us a little bit about that.
So this bowl are probably best going back to the start, I guess.
Sure.
The 3 founding directors were trying to find a healthier fast food option in their community.
Right.
What led them to starting their own business, because they sort of really couldn't find something that ticked the box. So they started the business 2016.
Wow.
So the 3 directors, Nathan Dyer, Nicholas Pestalozzi and Casper Edelson, worked in the stores, and it was really popular, and they started to sort of build the brand on that. But they've got this culture in the business, and it's just like, I don't know, there's an energy about the business that you can't explain.
Wow.
They're enthusiastic about, changing the culture of fast food first and foremost through just consistently putting up great product, fast, fresh.
Yeah. It is delicious.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And the energy that I experienced when I was at a store the last time I was here was off the charts. Like it's a different vibe.
Well,
completely.
yeah, and it's not just about the food. It's, like you want to feel good when you go into the space as well. So it's about how you're greeted at the counter and how your bowl's served to you.
Yeah.
They put a lot of time and effort into creating a product that looks good, tastes great,
Yeah.
and you feel good when you're there. But that culture, it's throughout the entire business.
Wow.
The cultures in our head office, in our build teams. We've got a policy in the business that everyone has to spend time on the make line making salad,
Amazing.
so that everyone stays grounded into what we're about.
And do you
Yes.
have to do that regularly or like?
I don't.
Okay. I was just going to ask, when's the last time you made a salad?
I don't have time to scratch myself half the time, but like I can say that from our CFO, our CEO,
Yeah.
down to like our accountants and everyone in the business. My assistant Julia in Australia, she'll do her time on the make lines, and we've got a new construction manager starting in New York this week. One of his first tasks is doing a shift on the make line,
Okay.
which he's excited for, and things like that. It's like it helps. Like I have done time in the stores. It just gives us an appreciation for what is needed from a build point of view
Absolutely.
for the staff.
Yeah. Why isn't that sink over here?
Like you might be in one store and you go, oh, it's a bit tight, but the next store's too big. It's like the staff have got to reach too far and things like that. So it really gives us a good insight as to what's required from the staff point of view, what makes their life better.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
That's an exciting concept. And
Yeah.
Well, construction productivity.
Yeah.
Our research has shown that, like, for a couple of decades, construction productivity has been flat. Despite all of the improvements with technology and all the things that are going on, it's flat. So that's why we had this podcast, like really have real stories with real people about really what happens for productivity on construction. So based on your experience, when you've seen a project really sail, or maybe you can bundle projects together where things really worked and had high productivity, what was the secrets to that? What did you see that might have been common, or maybe you have a project that you want to speak specifically on? Like, what do you think the secret is to having great productivity on a construction project?
One of the biggest things is like having a good team of contractors. One thing I've really been shocked when I came to the US was the lack of productivity and the lack of any urgency at all. Like particularly like towards the end of a project when, like there's a deadline, and I know that from decades of being in the industry, if I knew that was looming and I'm looking at my project timeline thinking we're slipping here, I'd have crews working 12, 14-hour days, or I'd have rotating crews, so we'd have the project going 24 hours a day, night crew, day crew.
Yep.
so that I could give that client those keys on the day of handover. Here, it's like project can be delayed and there's no urgency. Everyone still does their standard hours, still plod along at the standard rate. Right. There's no extra, like just have one electrician or, one carpenter working rather than going, okay, we're behind, let's get a team of people here. But I feel like morale is sort of somewhat low. And I don't know whether it's the lack of tradespeople. And I know this is something in Australia we're struggling with is tradespeople.
Right.
I find that today, like, I feel old saying it, but younger people coming through, right, they just don't want to do it. It's dirty, it's hard, it's long hours, things like this.
Right.
I feel like they're going into somewhat like softer lines of work.
Right.
And for that part as well, is like everyone wants to go straight into upper management. No one wants to start at the bottom today. And therefore what we're seeing is this real lack of skilled tradespeople in the industry. And I think solving that lack of skilled trades is a big part of increasing productivity moving forward.
Right. When you first started, you talked about the team. Having the right team can be critical to productivity. So what characteristics do you see in a team that really works well together, that really drives the productivity? How would you define that a little bit deeper?
I think definitely matching your team with your requirements is a key sort of factor. I guess if you were to go to a building company who's got 500 employees and you're doing like a little fit out, you're probably going to get lost in the numbers. You don't get the same super every project and all that. But then alternatively, if you've got a really small contractor and you're trying to do a certain number of projects per year, they don't have the manpower for, that can be problematic as well. So I would say matching your needs to someone that's appropriately sized, because I think it's very important to have like that a little bit of personal interaction with the person in the company that's running the show, basically. I know that when I was a GC, we did probably 25 to 30 restaurants a year on average.
Right.
And I had a personal, input into every single project.
Right.
Whether it be, weekly meetings with the client, making sure they're happy and things like this. But I know that, there's a lot of large companies out there where the client never sees the boss.
Right. Right.
So I think matching it is important.
Now, would you say that's all the way through from design through construction, all the different engineers you need to kind of match those capabilities?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One thing I found here, probably one of my earlier learnings, was that like our equipment supplier, for example, our equipment is all the same on each project. It's pretty much set and repeat. So I think going out to the market and testing the market for every single project is just going to add work for me. Whereas, trying to form a relationship with one equipment supplier in this instance, they know it's exactly the same piece of equipment moving forward. So it's a time saver. And I've already noticed, our workshop drawings, rough-in drawings, all turning around much faster.
Yeah.
And also understanding the processes, and this is coming from Australia.
Right.
Learning the processes, because they're very different here.
Different.
So I've started trying to manipulate the process. So, when we first came here, it was like, we had our interior designs done in Australia. We gave them to the architect of record, and then there was all this back and forth.
Right.
And then they went out to the equipment supplier to do rough-ins, and then back to the MEP. And I'm like, Lord, so now I do the drawings and then send them out to everyone at once. The rough-ins are being done while the backgrounds are being done by the architect and so forth. So it's just saving time. And consequently, the first time I used this different approach, our Spring Street Soho project, we were in and approved, I don't know, seven weeks after we signed a lease.
Wow.
Like we literally had approved drawings ready to build.
So working concurrently.
Yeah.
Not
concurrently. Like it saved at least 4 weeks in the process. So little learnings like that continually throughout the the stages of construction. I don't think you can ever stop learning either.
Yeah.
Like, because as you have changes in regulations, as you'd know, there's constant changes in bureaucratic regulations, and there's another hoop to jump through and things like this, right? Constantly learning how you can work around that process.
Yeah. We would believe the same at Cornerstone, that the team dynamic is so critical. Like, you have to be able to pick up the phone and and get something to happen or get something done. It's important that you have that proper team alignment, because if you don't, it just becomes resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I always press home with anyone that works for me is I hate the, just send an email and my job's
Right.
done,
Yeah.
right? It's, you send the email, it's got the core information, then you ring the person, discuss it,
Yeah.
right? It's important, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of live by the line that if the email has to go back like more than once, it's a phone call. You got to get on it and resolve it, because if somebody says, "Oh, I sent the email," that doesn't fly with me.
And don't get me started on the emails.
Yeah.
It's one thing I've known. Everyone in the US loves an email, and I'll often wake up in Australia, and I've gone to bed, all my emails are read. I'll wake up to 70 unread emails, and 50, 60, 70% of them are, I can be there at 10. No, I can't be. Can we do 10:30? Yeah, okay, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm good with it. And it's like, stop with the emails.
Yeah. Somebody pick up the phone and
Yeah,
coordinate the time.
it's like we've just forgotten how to.
I always say, imagine
call.
if we could invent this device, we could just push 7 numbers on and connect with the person. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, incredible, eh?
Yeah. Well, you touched on a little bit, Heath, about when you see productivity fail, like when things really go sideways. What are you seeing? What's your experience been, and how do you pivot and adjust to it?
I think that purely comes down to the project management.
Mm-hmm.
The person that should be in control of the job is losing control of the job.
Right.
So as a GC, if you've got good relationships with your contractors and good communication with the contractors, you should be able to deliver the projects on time.
Right.
They're either, short-staffed, overstretched, but I know that I'm one for forming relationships.
Right.
And THISBOWL's very much like that. We're very loyal, and they like
Right.
to work with people rather than saying, the outcome here is not right.
Right.
Let's move on to let's see how we can better
Make
this process.
Right.
So as a GC, I use the same electrical contractors, same air conditioning contractors, plumbers and so forth for decades.
Right.
And it was like until a point where they no longer want to grow with you,
Right.
or they retire or something like this. But you get much better production when you've got good relationships.
Yeah, you can leverage it.
Yeah. And I've noticed in New York City that the GCs one thing that is similar across the board is that they'll go out to bid. And if the price isn't where the customer needs it, they'll then just go out to other companies to bid. And that's sort of where you start to lose a little bit of that ability to leverage your relationship.
Right.
You'd say, hey, Jim, I've been giving you all this work for years. Like, I really need you to step up here and get some extra hands on deck where we're behind.
Right.
If it's the first time I've ever dealt with you, I go, Jim, I need 4 more electricians. You can go, oh, well, that's the best we can do.
Yeah. The relationship is key.
Absolutely.
All from top to bottom.
And it doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to give it a much better product if we can work with our supplier on supplies our carrots or something like this. And say, hey, what is it about the carrot that you don't like? No, it's just a silly example, but you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot to be said for having relationships and working on those relationships.
Right. From an owner's point of view, how do you build relationships that are strong and healthy and handle the need for transparency on costs and making sure you're paying the right price for the right work? How do you handle that?
So at the moment, we're heavily reliant on our owner's rep.
Okay.
So,
well, you got a good one.
So like having that knowledge, like the industry knowledge,
Right.
because like coming from Australia, it's so polar opposite in cost.
Okay.
So in Australia, you could say to me, hey, Heath, I'm tiling a dining room floor of a restaurant and it's X amount of square meters.
Right.
What should I be paying? And I'll be like, oh yeah, about this much.
Yeah.
Over here, it's like 4 times, 5 times the price.
Wow.
Right. So it's just, when we first landed, I'm like, hang on, what?
Yeah.
It costs that much?
Yeah.
So we're reliant on experience, and that experience is our client rep.
Right.
But I'm learning
Right.
quickly of where the numbers should sit,
Right.
and then go back to our client rep and say,
Is that a whack?
yeah,
Yeah.
this seems off. What's driving this? And then it's that experience that comes back and says, oh, well, because of this or because of that, that's what's driving. We've got to install this, and that's what's driving the price.
Certainly at Cornerstone, we strive for that transparency, right?
Yeah.
Try to work through it so that from bottom to top, everybody knows why it's costing what it's costing, and if there's opportunities to save, or whatever we need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We recently did a job where we were down to the wire, and the flooring was a big issue, but because we had the relationship with the flooring vendor, we were able to expedite it, manage the cost. It did cost more than what we expected because of the delivery requirement, but you kind of know your costs, rely on the relationships, and at the end of the day, you're okay with what you have to pay. We have this line: you pay for what you get, and you get what you pay for, right? Like it's
exactly.
balance.
And I mean, sometimes it's not just about the cost, right?
Exactly.
There's no point in saving a couple of dollars here if the outcome, you end up opening a month late or something like this, because you've just blown every cent that you've saved, right?
Yeah. We often say this line that we're project managers, not project witnesses. Like, for us to say we sent the email or we ticked that box really isn't quite enough. You got to have your eye on the project. And I think our experience has been, when we have a problem on a project, it's that the people that we call them project partners, they've lost sight of the project is what matters. Successful completion of the project is what matters. Mm-hmm. Whether this project partner or that project partner or whoever made a mistake, it's irrelevant. We got to get the store open. We got to get the client moved in. We got to start doing whatever they're doing to make the money for the next one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you've been on quite a learning curve coming to America.
Yeah.
And you're comparing what happens in Australia and what happens in America. But as an industry, what do you think we should be paying attention to? Like, is there something that you go, oh, we have to fix this, or we got to focus on that, or we got to learn this? What would your top 2 or 3 things be that you think we should be looking after?
Probably quite specific to us.
That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So it might not be a generalization across the industry, but one real shortfall that we've found here is the ability to customize anything.
Mm.
And I don't know whether this is a product of evolution in the US, where they've got so many people to service that it's like, okay, let's try and standardize things and mass produce and things like this, that custom fabrication has become like such a fine art. And trying to source things in reasonable time frames is quite difficult. So that's, personally for us, is having an ability to customize things to suit our operation is one key thing, and that's what I'm on a mission for at the moment.
Okay.
Is to find someone in the state, not in the state actually, in the country, just someone that can produce things in a timely manner to our specification.
Are you able to share what specifically you're looking for?
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
Custom fab stainless steel has been a real challenge.
Okay.
We've got a really good mill worker, like doing our joinery, what we call joinery.
Right.
Is that what you call it here, joinery?
Yeah,
or just millwork?
Millwork. Yeah.
So the millwork that we've got on the project we're building at the moment is just excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah. I feel like we're getting there. It's just getting someone who can, like, we've certainly spoken to people that can do custom fab, but the turnaround times are just ridiculous. So,
what would be your ideal turnaround time?
well, when I go to my shop in Australia
Yeah.
and I can have the custom fab for our Nomad store here turned around in 14 days and on a ship and sent to America faster than they can actually produce it in America is shocking. So if I can have it produce something less than that,
That
would be
good.
amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And is that what you did for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
From approved shop drawings, it was 12 days, and we had the whole store on a ship
Wow.
because no one in America could do what we wanted
Isn't that
within 26 weeks.
Mm.
It was crazy.
So I guess I would put that under the umbrella of being nimble and adaptable to customers' needs is something we need to focus on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhat. And again, I don't know whether this is just a thing that we're blind to because we're spoilt in Australia. We've got a lot of skilled workers.
Right.
Even though we do have a shortfall, there's still a lot of
Right.
skilled workers.
Right.
It's sort of unheard of in Australia to build out a restaurant and to put off the counter or off the shelf products. Everything's custom made.
Everything's custom. Is there anything else that you think as an industry we should be looking at? We got turnaround time on specialty fabrication.
Well, yeah, just skilled workers.
Skilled workers.
Yeah, skilled workers. It just seems to be a massive shortfall of them, whether they're so much work at the moment
Right.
in the States that they're just consumed, or whether there's just a general lack of skilled workers. But I mean, that's the two glaring problems I face at the moment.
How would you compare skilled workers in Australia compared to America? Is there a different level of training that's happening in Australia? Like, is there anything that you can point to? Hey, we do this in Australia that we don't see happening in America, or vice versa?
I can't speak to the training.
Okay.
I know what our training's like in Australia. So I don't know whether it's the training, but we generally, I think our culture is slightly different. Our tradespeople, there's no, I mean, look, there is in some industries, like we've got some of the unionised building sites and that, they've definitely got their very strict hours that, 7 till 3 or whatever. But across the board in Australia, our contractors, there's no real set hours. Like we call them tradies. Tradies will generally, like on a residential project, will turn up to site at like just before 7 o'clock and start work, and they'll be sort of leaving around 3 or 4 or something like that. But we generally have a culture as that, if you're not finished, if I'm putting these skirt boards on in this room and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I've got half an hour's work to finish, I'll do the half an hour's work.
Yeah.
Where here I found they just stop. It's 3 o'clock, it's time to go.
Okay.
We had on the project where I have a little bit of a giggle to myself a couple of days ago because, the project's a little bit behind, and the carpenters, they were packing up at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
And, they'd said, we're starting early tomorrow because we're behind. Okay, great. So I get there the next day and they're leaving at 2 o'clock, and I said, how come you're leaving? Oh, we started at 6. Well, but you've just done a normal day. It's the difference starting at 7 till 3 or 6 till 2. You've just done a normal day. You haven't actually achieved any more on the project.
Right.
But that's sort of that mentality. It's like, well, no, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
Great guys and doing a great job. But it's like, and I've seen that. This is not specific. I've seen this across the board.
Right.
So, yeah, but there's definitely a different culture. I think the culture is
Different here.
is very different. Yeah. So learning how to work on that culture. Actually, I came across a guy yesterday on our project, and he's what we call a friggy. So a refrigeration mechanic.
Yeah.
And he was hooking up our blast chiller, and it was a big job. It was 2-inch copper, quite a run, a lot of bends and testing and all this sort of stuff. And he was there for most part of the day. And anyway, he said to me last night, I was leaving the office at like 8 o'clock, and it's where our commissary is, our new commissary is. And
Right.
I said, Chris, what time are you on site till? And he goes, mate, he goes, I'm here till I'm finished. And I said, love the attitude. He goes, America, baby. That is. Well, I haven't heard that from everyone, but I love your spirit.
That's awesome.
And he sent a picture at 3 o'clock this morning saying finished.
Wow.
Like, I haven't seen that since I've been here. He's literally the exception.
Wow.
But that's how we work in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
when we have to. Obviously,
Well,
we
yeah.
don't want to do 3 a.m. finishes
every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
When push comes to shove, you have to do
It's
it.
probably not ideal because you lose the next day, but at least you've sort of
Yeah.
got to level up.
You loved his attitude, though.
loved his attitude.
Yeah,
He had
yeah.
heaps of, he's like, yeah, baby.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Heath, it's been great to have you as part of the podcast, and enjoyed our conversation and enjoy our conversations outside of the podcast. So thanks for taking the time to come in today, and appreciate your insights. And congrats on the learning curve that you've gone through. That's significant over the last.
Well, yeah,
little bit.
thank you. I appreciate you inviting me, and I'm sure we've got a lot to learn. We start going to different states and different rules and different people and processes again. So it's just going to be set and repeat.
Yeah. Well, if people wanted to connect with you, what's the best way?
Well, if they want to connect with the company, they're best to go through our marketing team at THISBOWL. They'll be able to find it online.
Okay.
With me personally, they can reach out to the company and they'll put anyone in contact.
Perfect. Well, look forward to being on the journey with you.
Cool.
So thanks for coming in today.
Appreciate it. Cool. Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers, Jim.
Cheers. Wow, what a conversation. It was hard to end it. Heath is just such a depth of knowledge and experience, and I just loved his insights on the difference between Australia and America. And it was just fun to explore that and unpack that a little bit, because we get so connected to how we do things and we forget that other people have figured out ways to do things differently. So I found that fascinating, encouraged by Heath to be able to learn and adapt, and then bringing the ideas from Australia here, and doing things concurrently and not systematically. And I thought that was a real insight that he's brought to building in America. But the one thing that really stood out to me even more was the importance of our mindset and our culture, both as individuals and as a company, and also that a project in itself can have its own culture and its own attitude, and how important it is that no matter how long the list is, and no matter the obstacles that we face each and every day, we got to have the right attitude. We got to have the right can-do attitude, where we can overcome things, we can find solutions. And frankly, that's why we have a job. That's why anybody in a construction project, that's why we're there. We're there to solve problems and bring the project to success. So I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. And just thank you for watching. If you could like on the platform that you're watching, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, leave a review. That's really helpful in helping us get this podcast to other people in the industry that could benefit from these insights. So take a couple minutes. I'd really appreciate that. We thank those that have already done that. This podcast is brought to you by Cornerstone, and we have this vision at Cornerstone about creating a better journey for our clients, our staff, our project partners, and ultimately the world. And we find this podcast as a way to give back to the world in the construction industry. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a great day.